Hare Krishna. Can you hear my voice? Am I audible? Okay, let's start. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for joining today's session. We have been discussing from the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The chapter is titled as Prakriti Purusha Vibhaga Yoga. This chapter, Arjuna starts by asking these 6 questions. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetragyam Evacha Etad Veditumichami Jnanam Geyam Cha Keshava. He asks about the 6 items. Prakriti Purusha Kshetra Kshetragya Jnanam and Geyam. And Krishna immediately starts answering this question. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetramitya vidiyate etadyo vetitam prahuhu kshetragya iti tadvidaha. He says this body is the kshetra and the jiva, whether in his conditioned state or in his liberated state, who is the knower of the body, he is the kshetragya. Kshetragyam chapi mam viddi sarva kshetreshu bharata kshetra kshetragyayor jnanam yattad jnanam matam mama. And I, as the super soul, O Arjuna, is also the Kshetragya, not of just one body, but of all the bodies. And knowledge means to have the knowledge of Kshetra and Kshetragya. That is what is knowledge. Okay. Tat Kshetram yacha yadrikcha yadvikari yataschayat sachayo yat prabhavascha tat samasena me shrunu. I am going to briefly tell you, my dear Arjuna, about this field, Kshetra and Kshetragya. In that, I am going to tell what is the field composed of, what are its qualities, what are its transformations, who is the knower of the field, what are his powers, and all these things, but only in brief. But if you want more details about this, Rishibir Bahuda Gitam Chandobir Vividai Pratak Brahma Sutra Padaishcheva Hetumadbir Vinishchitaihi. If you want more details about it, you can refer to the many verses of the Vedas presented by the rishis, and also you can look into the logical and decisive words of the Brahma Sutras presented by Vyasadeva. Okay, now I will start speaking about the Kshetra. Mahabhutanya Hankaro Buddhir Avyaktamevacha Indriyani Dashaikamcha Panchascha Indriya Gocharaha Ichadvesha Sukam Dukkam Sangatas Chetana Dritihi Etat Kshetram Samasena Savikaram Udahritam. So this Kshetra consists of the 5 elements, Mahatattva, Prakriti, the 10 senses, the mind, the 5 sense objects, and apart from that, desire, hatred, happiness, distress, all these constitute the gross and subtle body along with its transformations. And so this is about the Kshetra. And then talking about knowledge, he talks about now Kshetra Kshetragya is briefly over. Now he is going to talk about knowledge. In talking about knowledge, he is going to tell what are the elements of knowledge or what are the characteristics which are very favorable for development of knowledge, especially knowledge of the transcendental subject matters. Okay. What are the qualities which are favorable for developing knowledge of the transcendental subject matter? Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa, Kshantirarjamam, Acharyopasanam Shaucham, Stairyam, Atma Vinigraha, Indriyarteshu Vairagyam, Anahankara Evacha, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi, Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam, Asaktir, Anabhiswanga, Putradara Grahadishu, Nityam cha Samachittatvam, Ishta Anishta Upapattishu, Mayicha Ananya Yogena Bhaktir Avyabhicharini, Vivikta Desha Sevitvam, Aratir Janasamsadi, Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam, Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam, Etat Kshetram iti proktam, Etat Jnanam iti proktam, Ajnanam Yadatonyata. So he talks about in this 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, in these 5 verses, he talks about the various aspects of knowledge, 20 items of knowledge. Okay. Of the 20, 18 are relevant for both practitioners of Bhakti Yoga and Jnana Yoga. And but 2 of them, the last 2, are relevant only for the practicing Jnana Yogis, which is Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam. So that is actually um, constant engagement in the knowledge of the self and always keeping in mind the goal of liberation. This is not true for the devotees because they are not always engaged in the cultivation of knowledge. They are always engaged in cultivation of bhakti, and their constant goal is not liberation. Their constant goal is pleasure of Krishna and aspiration to develop a relationship with Krishna. So these two items do not apply to devotees. The other 18 items do apply to devotees. Um, and of the 18 items, there is one item in which the devotee diligently engages in. The rest of the 17 items automatically follow that engagement. That is, Maicha Ananya Yogena Bhaktir Avyabhicharini. Engagement in Avyabhichari Bhakti, undeviated devotional service. So, when he engages in this one activity, uh, of course, this is not one activity. This is one process with multiple subdivisions. Um, then all the other 17 qualities automatically follow. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvair gunays tatra samasate suraha. All good qualities automatically manifest in the devotee. So then talking about these various aspects of knowledge, then he starts talking about um, Gyeya, the object of knowledge, which is Paramatma. Gyeyam ettat pravakshami yadgyatva amritamashnute anadi matparam brahma nasattan nasaduchyate. He starts talking about Gyeya, the object of knowledge. Of course, if he would have told the object of knowledge is Paramatma, that is good enough. That would have been Gyeya. But in talking about the Gyeya, he is actually giving Jnana because that is what he is doing here. Okay, because details about the object of knowledge is actually knowledge, jnana. So he is going to speak about the object of knowledge. In talking about the object of knowledge, he is giving knowledge about the object. Okay, jnana. So in strictest sense, if you ask me, this section actually talks about jnana rather than gyeya. So in 8 to 12, he discussed about the 20 items of knowledge. But if one engages in trying to understand the object of knowledge being endowed with these 20 items, what knowledge does he gain? This is the knowledge. So what is being presented here will be realized by that person if he develops these qualities. So he says, Geyam yattat pravakshami yadgyatva amritamashnute. By understanding about this object of knowledge, one will attain liberation. This Supreme Brahman or Paramatma is without beginning and he takes shelter of me. Atava bahunaitena kim gyatena tavarjuna vishtabhyaham vidam kritsnam ekam shena stito jagat. This Paramatma is one amsha of Krishna. Krishna is the amshi. So that's why it is mentioned mat param nasattad nasaduchyate, and it is beyond material cause and effect. Then sarvatah panipadam tat sarvatokshi shiromukam sarvatah shrutimal loke sarvam avritya tishtati. You can see it in two different ways. One is, because the Paramatma is in the heart of all the living entities, therefore, because the all living entities are everywhere, so therefore you can say the Paramatma has his hands and feet everywhere. Or another understanding is practically the hands and feet of all the living entities is actually a manifestation of the energy of the Paramatma. So therefore, you can say Paramatma has his hands and feet everywhere because wherever you see the hands and feet, it is just a manifestation of the energy of Paramatma. That is why it is not inappropriate to say the Paramatma has his hands and feet and everything everywhere. Okay. And then Sarvendriya Gunabhasam, Sarvendriya Vivarjitam. Asaktam sarvavritchaiva nirgunam gunabhoktracha. This Brahman or Paramatma is Sarvendriya Gunabhasam. He illuminates all the senses and the sense objects. Sarvendriya Vivarjitam. But even though he himself is free of any kind of material senses. Asaktam Sarvabrit. Even though he is the maintainer of everything, but still he remains detached, which is very rare. Generally, whoever maintains something, that cause of maintenance would be some type of attachment. But in the case of Paramatma, so he maintains everything, but he has no attachment. Nirgunam gunabhoktracha. And he is without material gunas, but at the same time, he is the enjoyer of all the spiritual gunas. Okay, like that. Bahirantascha bhutanam acharam charamevacha sukshmatvat tad avijneyam durastam cha antike cha tat. Bahir antascha bhutanam. He is outside and inside of all the living beings. Acharam charamevacha. He alone is the moving and non-moving beings because they all are his energy only, and their bodies are also his Bahiranga Shakti. The living entities are his Tatastha Shakti, right? Avijneyam, and he is very difficult to understand. Why? Sukshmatvat, because of his subtle nature. Therefore, he is very difficult to understand. Durastam cha antike cha tat. He is far away and also he is very near. Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam ivacha sthitam bhuta bhartru cha tad jneyam grasishnu prabhavishnu cha. Also understand that even though the Paramatma is seen like he is divided and present in the bodies of all the living entities, but actually there is one Paramatma only. Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam ivacha sthitam. It looks like he is split, but indeed he is one. And understand, bhuta bhartru cha tadnyayam grasishnu prabhavishnu cha. And he is, this Paramatma is the maintainer, he is the creator, and he is the destroyer of everything in this world. Jyotisham apitat jyotis tamasap paramuchyate jnanam gyayam jnanagamyam hridi sarvasya vishtitam. He is the light of all the luminaries and he is said to be beyond darkness. He is knowledge, jnanam. He is the object of knowledge, gyayam, jnanagamyam. And he is the one who is obtained by the process of knowledge, which was described in verse number 8 to 12. And hridi sarvasya vishtitam. And he is situated in the hearts of all the living entities. Iti kshetram tata jnanam gyayam choktam samasatah mad bhakta etad vijnaya mad bhavaya upapadyate. In this way, my dear Arjuna, I have described to you about Kshetra, Kshetragya, Jnana and Gyaya. If my devotee, when he understands the subject matter, by assimilating the subject matter, he moves towards, he attains prema. This is one understanding. At the same time, this also refers to a jnana yogi who has the element of bhakti in his practice of jnana. Mad bhakta etad vijnaya. So mad bhakta here refers to the jnana yogi whose practice of jnana has the element of bhakti, because of which that jnana practice will be successful. Etad vijnaya mad bhavaya upapadyate. He attains my impersonal Brahma Jyoti. This is another understanding. So in this way, he then starts talking about the last two topics about which he promised to speak, which is about Purusha, Prakriti and their union. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidhi Anadi Ubhavapi Vikaramscha Gunamschaiva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan. Okay. So he says that Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidhi Anadi Ubhavapi. understand that Prakriti and Purusha, Purusha here refers to the Jiva, they both are Anadi, eternal. Why? Because they both are energies of a personality who is eternal. Okay. So Krishna is eternal. So he's Krishna, the energetic, is eternal. He is eternally energetic. So therefore, he can be eternally energetic only if his energies are eternal. So Jiva Shakti is also his energy. The Maya Shakti is also his energy. So if both energies are eternal and their connection is also eternal. Okay. That is why Chaitanya Charitamrita says Anadi Bahirmukh. Okay. And also in Bhakti Sandarbha, we were discussing that this knowledge, the conditioned soul's knowledge of Krishna is in a state of prag abhav. Prag abhav means prior non-existence. Prior non-existence. It did not exist before the jiva attains self-realization. Okay. So that knowledge of Krishna is in a state of prag abhav. Therefore, here, this connection between Prakriti and the jiva is eternal. Okay. And all the transformations which are manifesting, they all arise from the Prakriti. And they are not transformations of the jiva. Karyakaranakartrutve hetu prakriti ruchyate, purusha sukha dukkhanam bhoktrutve hetu ruchyate. And then in this connection between the jiva and Prakriti, the cause of that relationship, both contribute to that relationship. The jiva's contribution to that relationship is bhoktrutve. Sukha dukkhanam bhoktrutve. By being the enjoyer of the happiness and distress. So that consciousness that is provided by the jiva, because you need a conscious being to enjoy happiness and distress, and the object with which the jiva can misidentify with and enjoy, that is provided by Prakriti. Okay, that is provided by the Prakriti. Karya Karana Kartrutve. Prakriti provides the body, senses, and sense devatas, through which the jiva wrongly thinks that he is enjoying matter. Okay, like that. And then we saw this, I think 22nd was the last verse that we did. Oh, no, 23rd also, 24th also, 25. Oh, 26 also. Okay, I think till 26 we have completed. Wow, not bad. I thought we were just, we could complete only one verse. So we have completed till 26, not bad. 26 we have completed means we have about 9 verses left to complete this chapter. Pretty good. Purusha prakritisto hi bhunkte prakritijan gunan karanam guna sangosya sadasadyoni janmasu. The jiva prakritistaha purushaha. The jiva who is identifying with the prakriti in the form of his body, bhunkte gunan. He thinks that he is experiencing happiness and distress, prakritijan, which is actually born from his mind. Karanam asya gunasangaha. This is caused by his association with the body, sadasad yoni janmasu, which causes his birth in the bodies of devatas, animals, human beings, etc. Purusha prakritistohi bhunkte prakritijan gunan karanam gunasangosya sadasad yoni janmasu. This is caused by his association with the body, which causes his birth in various bodies of devata and animal. So this, because of this misidentification with his body. And upadrashta anumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwaraha paramatmeti chapyukto dehesmin purushaparaha. While the jiva residing in this body and identifying in this body is experiencing the is experiencing bliss and suffering that comes. There is another entity, conscious entity, which is residing in that same body, and he is called as Paramatma. And he is Upadrashta Anumanta. He is the witness who is situated close to the Jiva. He is Anumanta. He mercifully allows the enjoyment of the Jiva. Bharta Bhokta, and he is also the supporter and protector of the Jiva. So he is present. Okay. And Ya evam vyakti purusham prakritim cha gunaihi saha sarvata vartamanopi nasa bhuyo bijayate. Ya evam vyakti purusham. He who knows this Paramatma, prakritim cha, and prakriti and the jiva. Cha indicates the jiva. He who knows prakriti, purusha and the jiva, gunaihi saha, along with the gunas. Along with the gunas means how the gunas interact with the jiva and bind the jiva to the material world. One who understands this. Nasaha bhuyo abhijayate. Nasaha bhuyaha abhijayate. Such a person does not take birth again. Sarvata vartamanopi. Even though having attained that realization, he may exist in this material world with many, many things happening around him. But for such a person who has attained this realization, there is no rebirth in this material world. Dhyanenatmani pashyanti kechit atmanamatmana anye sankyena yogena karma yogena chapare. Some people see this Paramatma through meditation in Bhakti Yoga, some people by practice of Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, and others practice Nishkama Karma Yoga. Through that they realize this Paramatma. Okay. So, like that. So in this regard, he says that Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Nishkama Karma Yoga are successive causes of each other and not direct causes. So which means there are two ways of attaining realization of the Paramatma. One is the gradual process in which one starts with Sakama Karma Yoga, then Nishkama Karma Yoga, then Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and then realizing the Paramatma and then attaining liberation. This is the gradual process. And there is the direct process of bhakti through which when one realizes Bhagavan, automatically the Paramatma feature is also realized. Dhyanenatmani pashyanti kechid atmanamatmana anye sankyena yogena karma yogena chapare. Like that. So he is telling that the Paramatma, this Paramatma can be realized either by the direct process of bhakti or the gradual process of Sakama Karma, Nishkama Karma, Jnana, Ashtanga, and then eventually realizing the Paramatma and attaining liberation. And then he says, Anye tvevam ajanatah shrutva anyebhya upasate tepi cha atitarantyeva mrityum shruti parayanaha. So he says that others who perform worship, even though not knowing but hearing from others, they also surpass death, being intent on hearing. Others who worship Paramatma by hearing talks from various other sources, they also surpass death. Various other sources means various other bona fide sources. If they hear from bona fide sources, then they can also attain, they can also surpass death and they can also attain liberation. So in this way, we have seen the topics, the 6 topics that Krishna promised to speak to Arjuna. Of course, Arjuna had requested Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetragyam Etad Veditumichami Jnanam Geyam cha Keshava. So he asked about the 6 topics: Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetragya, Jnana, and Geya. Please speak about the 6 topics. And in response to that, Krishna has spoken about those 6 topics to Arjuna. So now we come to the last part of this chapter, which is the vision of knowledge. So he's going to speak about the vision of knowledge. Before we get to that discussion, if there are any quick discussion points, comments, or questions, we can take any quick discussion points. You can please go ahead. Yes, Shivakumar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dhanavad Prabhu.
Dhanavad Prabhu.
Prabhu, two questions, Prabhu, on the philosophy. When we hear, our philosophy name is Achintya Beda Beda, right, Prabhu?
Yeah.
Does that mean the energy and energetic person are the same, or does it also relate to the Paramatma and Jivatma aspects, Prabhu?
Yeah, Paramatma and Jivatma are qualitatively one. So there is a sense of abheda between Paramatma and Jivatma. They both are conscious entities. They both are Kshetragyas. So, so they both are spiritual in nature.
Hmm.
So there are many aspects which are abheda,
Hmm.
but there are definitely bheda.
Hmm.
There is a lot of differences.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So definitely between Jiva and Paramatma also, there is Achinta Beda Bed relationship is there.
Okay. So that definition, Prabhu, is in terms of qualities. You're saying, is it? There are some qualities in common and some qualities are different.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, Prabhu, one more question, Prabhu. This actually came from one of the Guru Maharaj lecture I was listening. The Guru Maharaj himself was making this comment, Prabhu, but he didn't answer in the lecture. But the question was very interesting. It was just lingering in my mind for a long time. When we say the jiva is eternally separate, eternally individual jivas, we also hear philosophically that this swamsha and vibhinnamsha expansions of the Lord.
Yeah.
So how is that possible, Prabhu? When the jiva is eternally separate, why are we saying expansion of the Lord?
He is separated expansion of the Lord.
Hmm.
That is the meaning.
Hmm.
Vibhinna Amsha.
Hmm.
He is Vibhinna Amsha. So separate means he has separate free will. Because Amsha means he acts exactly according to the Amshi. You have a bodily part. Your bodily part, if you want to lift your left hand, then the left hand, if you don't want your left hand, you don't want to lift your left hand, the left hand cannot lift itself. Right? So that is an Amsha. But he is Vibhinna Amsha, meaning the Jiva has a conscious independence. So, therefore, he is separate also, but at the same time, he is Amsha also.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So, if there are no further discussion points, comments, or questions, let us continue our discussion. So today we will see the last section. I'm not sure if we will be able to complete the chapter today, but let's at least get going. Okay. यावत् सञ्जायते किञ्चित् सत्त्वं स्थावरजङ्गमम् क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञसंयोगात् तद्विद्धि भरतऋषभ. This is like a summary that he's giving. Understand, my dear Arjuna, yavat kinchit sattvam stavara jangamam. Sattvam means that which has life force. Stavara means non-moving. Jangamam means moving. Yavad kinchit. All entities, whether they are moving or non-moving, high or low, sanjayate, they appear. Kshetra kshetragya samyogat. All the entities, whether they are moving or non-moving, high or low, they appear from the combination of matter and jiva. O Bharatarshabha, O best of the Bharatas. So, all entities here means the bodies of the entities. Okay. The bodies of the entities, because entities themselves are not made of matter. Right? But because here we are talking about the entities in this material world, and the very fact that these entities are there in the material world means they are identifying with their body. Therefore, all the entities are a manifestation of Kshetra, and Kshetragya means the bodies of those living entities is a manifestation of Kshetra and Kshetragya. Because you may say, oh, if you are talking about body, then why you are talking about Kshetragya? Because body is purely matter. Yes, body is purely matter, but body cannot manifest without spirit, right? The human body or an animal body or a bird body is not like clay. Huh? It is different. There are 6 changes that happen in body. These 6 changes do not automatically happen in an object which is purely matter, which is uninhabited by a spirit. So here, he is not talking about matter, he is talking about Kshetra. Kshetra specifically means body. Okay. That body manifests only by Kshetra Kshetragya Samyoga, by a combination of Kshetra and Kshetragya. Okay. Otherwise, matter is purely matter. For the manifestation of matter, you don't need spirit. But the body, either it is human body, animal body, bird body, insect body, whatever it may be, for that body to manifest, you need the samyoga, the union between Kshetra and Kshetragya. Okay. So that one should understand. This is the first thing that he says, that yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam stavara jangamam Kshetra Kshetragya Samyoga Tadviddi Bharatarshabha. O best of the Bharatas, understand that whatever entities, whether moving or non-moving, that you see, they are a manifestation. They manifest due to the combination of Kshetra and Kshetragya. They manifest means their bodies manifest. Okay. That is the understanding. Okay. So here Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, from this verse till the end, the Lord expands on the meaning of what he has already spoken. Know that all the living entities, whether low or high, non-moving or moving, are born from the combination of fields and knower of the field. Okay, like that. Any quick discussion points, comments, questions based on this verse? Anything anyone would like to share? Ask the hand. Okay, if there is none, let us continue. So this is one summary which he has mentioned. Okay. Kshetra Kshetragya Samyoga Tadviddi Bharatarshabha. Yavat Sanjayate Kinchit Sattvam Stavarajangamam. Kshetra Kshetragya Samyoga Tadviddi Bharatarshabha. Whatever body that you see is a manifestation of a combination of Kshetra and Kshetragya. Okay. So then he says, Samam Sarveshu Bhuteshu Tishtantam Parameshwaram Vinashyatsva Vinashyatvam Yapashyati Sapashyati. He's talking about what is proper vision. Okay. Proper vision. Yapashyati Sapashyati. One who sees in this way is actually seeing properly. That's what it means. Yapashyati Sapashyati. One who sees in this way is actually seeing. Which means he is talking about what is the proper understanding, what is the proper vision. What is the proper vision? Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyatsu avinashyatvam avinashyantam yap pashyati sapashyati. Yaha pashyati, one who sees, avinashyantam parameshwaram, that Parameshwara who is Avinashyanta. Avinashyantam, one who is Avinashi, indestructible. One who sees that the indestructible Paramatma, Samam Tishtantam, who is situated equally, Sarveshu Vinashyatsu Bhuteshu, he is situated equally in all destructible bodies, Saha Pashyati, he actually sees. So, proper vision is to understand that how the Supreme Lord is impartially situated in the bodies of all the living entities as Paramatma. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram. Vinashyatsu avinashyantam. Yap pashyati sapashyati. One who sees the indestructible Paramatma situated equally in all destructible bodies. He does not feel happy situating himself in the bodies of devatas. He does not feel very embarrassed situating himself in the bodies of animals or plants, etc. He's equal. He's equipoised, equally disposed. Samam. Not only is he tishtantam, not only is he situated, but he is samam tishtantam. Samam tishtantam means equally situated, which means situated with the same disposition. Okay. Not that he is irritated to stay in some bodies, he's very happy to stay in the other bodies. It's not like that. So, he says, one should therefore know Paramatma. He who sees the Paramatma situated in the destructible bodies of all beings actually sees. He is actually a Jnani. Okay. Any quick discussion points, comments? Okay. If there is none, let's continue. Samam pashyam hi sarvatra samavasthitamishwaram na hinastyatmanatmanam tato yati param gatim. Pashyan Ishwaram. He who sees Paramatma, sarvatra samam samavasthitam. He who sees Paramatma situated everywhere equally, na hinasti, he does not degrade. Atmana Atmanam, he does not degrade the soul by the deviating mind. Tato yati param gatim, and he attains the supreme goal. So, what is this person who sees this Paramatma? Seeing means not theoretical, not just theoretical understanding. Seeing means realization. One who has this realization of this Paramatma being equally situated in all the bodies does not degrade the soul by the deviating mind. What does that mean? What does that mean? It means Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano anuvidiyate tadasya harati pragyam vayurnavam ivambasi. It means that, an ordinary conditioned soul, Krishna says in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Indriyanam hi charatam, even one of the uncontrolled senses, which it goes behind a sense object, yan mano anuvidiyate, it pulls the mind also along with it. Tadasya harati pragyam, and the mind pulls the intelligence along with it, and the intelligence pulls the soul also, and in this way degradation happens. But for one who has realized the Paramatma, he is no longer attached to the fleeting pleasures of this world. So therefore, he attains the supreme goal. So that is the meaning. Samam pashyan hi sarvatra samavasthitam ishwaram na hinasti atmana atmanam tato yati param gatim. He who sees Paramatma situated equally everywhere, he does not degrade the soul by his deviating mind. and he attains the supreme goal, which is liberation. So he who sees me situated everywhere does not make the soul fall down by the mind which wanders on the wrong path. Like that. So this is what in the second chapter, also in the last section, Sthita pragyasya kabasha samadhistasya keshava sthitadir kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. As Arjuna asks Krishna, what are the symptoms of a sthita pragya? So he talks, he presents various aspects. Dukkeshu anudvignamana, sukeshu vigataspruha, vitaraga bayakroda, sthitadir muniruchyate, and so on. He talks about various aspects, how the Sitadir Muni is not, what is that verse? Kurmongani va sarvashah, Indriyanam, no. What is that verse? Kurmongani va sarvashah, how he withdraws his senses just like a tortoise withdraws. What is the beginning of that verse? Anyone knows? Kurmongani va sarvashah. Yada samharate chayam. No. Anyways, so like that, that's what is indicated here. Samam pashyan hi sarvatra samavasthitam ishwaram na hinasti atmana atmanam tato yati param gatim. He who has this equal vision, he is situated equally everywhere. He who sees the Paramatma situated equally everywhere, as mentioned in the previous verse, does not degrade the soul by the deviating mind, and he attains the supreme goal. Okay. Yeah, someone is telling that my voice is low. Is my voice low? Are you able to hear me clearly? Okay, my voice is low. So I don't know. Okay, everyone is telling yes. So if my voice is low, I have no idea. Just give me a second. Let me figure this out. Hare Krishna. Okay, I don't know why. Let me check out. Yeah. Oh, it is in Yada Samharate Chayam Kurmongani va Sarvashah Indriyani Indriyartebhyas Tasya Pragya Pratishtita. Okay, that is the verse. Just give me a second. I will just figure out what is the problem with this thing. Okay. Is it okay now? Or okay, is it okay? Okay, now it's better. Okay, thank you. Okay. So that's what he says. Samam pashyan hi sarvatra samavasthitam ishwaram na hinasti atmana atmanam tato yati param gatim. Okay. Of course, as I said, this last section is like a summary. This last section is like a summary of what he has discussed throughout this chapter. Okay, any quick discussion points, comments, questions, anything anyone would like to share, ask, and before we move forward? Okay, let's move on then. Prakrityaiva cha karmani kriyamanaani sarvashah yap pashyati tatatmanam akartaram sa pashyati. This is very similar to that verse. Prakrite kriyamanaani gunai karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. This is the opposite of what is being mentioned here. this person actually knows that it is Prakriti only which is doing everything. What is the very next verse of Prakrite Kriyamanani? 3.29, sorry, 3.28. What is Bhagavad Gita 3.28? Can someone find out? Prakrite Kriyamanani Gune Karmani Sarvashah Ankara Vimodatma Kartaham Iti Manyate. Then Vidwan, something like comes. What is that verse? Can someone find out, please? 3.28. What is 3.28? Someone should be ready with your, either Bhagavad Gita, or you should have your this thing open, your folio open always. Tattva vittu mahabaho guna karma vibhagayoho guna guneshu vartanta iti matva na sajjate. So someone please, please be ready either with your Bhagavad Gita, or you should have your, this thing always ready, the folio, so that if we are trying to recollect a verse, I have my Kali Yuga memory. I can't remember all verses. So I keep forgetting. So he says, yes, that's what. Tattva vittu mahabaho guna karma vibhagayoho guna guneshu vartanta iti matva na sajjate. Is the same verse here. Okay, what we saw in the third canto, the same meaning is here. Okay, Prakrtyaiva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashah yap pashyati. He who sees sarvashah karmani, that all activities, Prakrtyaiva kriyamanani, it is done by matter alone. Of course, matter gets the empowerment from the jiva, but it is accomplished by matter only. Tata atmanam akartaram, and when he sees that the self is not doing anything, the self is not doing anything means he is not identifying with the body. That's what it means. So he does not mean that he commits a murder and he thinks that, oh, I did not do it, is only Prakriti which did. No, not like that. So here, Atmanam Akartaram means he is not identifying with the body as the self. That's what it means. Saha Pashyati, he actually sees. So that's what it means. So he who sees that all activities being done by matter alone, sees the soul as doing nothing, he actually sees. So, purport, one who sees that all the actions are done by Prakriti in the form of body and senses, and who sees that the jiva is the doer only by thinking himself the body, but is not actually the doer, he actually sees. That is the meaning. Okay, any quick discussion points, comments, questions? Okay. Let's continue then. Yada bhuta pratagbavam ekastam anupashyati tata eva cha vistaram brahma sampadyate tada. Yada anupashyati, when one sees bhuta pratagbavam, that all separate beings ekastam are situated in one prakriti at the time of dissolution. Tata eva cha vistaram, and they all arise from that prakriti at the time of creation. Brahma sampadyate tada, the person becomes Brahman, which means he becomes Brahma Bhuta. He reaches the Brahma Bhuta stage. One who realizes that all the separate beings, are situated in one Prakriti at the time of dissolution, and at the time of creation, they all emanate from that same Prakriti. So that person becomes Brahman here means he attains the Brahma Bhuta stage. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Nashochati Nakangshati. These are all symptoms of self-realization. One who realizes this, he attains self-realization. So he's a self-realized person. That's what it means. When one perceives that the various forms of the living beings, moving and non-moving, are situated in the one Prakriti at the time of Pralaya and sees at the time of creation the expansion of living entities from Prakriti, he becomes Brahman. So Brahman here would mean that the Jiva attains qualities similar to the Lord. Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. That is the meaning. Or Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Nashochati Nakangshati. Samas Sarveshu Bhuteshu Madbhaktim Labate Param. So he attains the Brahma Bhuta stage, or this is a symptom of self-realization. That's what it means. Okay. Any discussion points, comments, questions? Okay, let us continue then. Today, I think everyone is very satisfied. So no questions today. Okay. Anaditvan nirgunatvat paramatmayam avyayah sharirasthopi kaunteya nakaroti na lipyate. Anaditvat. This suffix at means it indicates causality. So anaditvat means because of being anadi. Anadi means having no cause, which means he is the cause of everything. Anaditvat, because he is the supreme cause. Nirgunatvat, and because everything arises from him. Ayam avyayah Paramatma, this indestructible Paramatma, Sharirastopi, even though he is situated in the body, na karoti na lipyate, he does not think himself the doer and he is not contaminated. Everything, including matter and Maya, emanates from this person. He is the source of Maya, therefore Maya does not contaminate the Supreme Lord, this Paramatma. Therefore, just like the conditioned soul, even though the Paramatma is situated in the body of the living entity, but he does not identify with the body and therefore he is not contaminated by such an identification. Anaditvat, nirgunatvat, paramatmayam avyayam, sharirastopi kaunteya na karoti na lipyate. So, these are all summary of what we have already seen, the summary of what we have seen in this chapter. The nature of Paramatma, the nature of the Jiva, the nature of body. Okay. Because he is the supreme cause and everything arises from him, including the material modes, Maya, etc. Therefore, the Paramatma, even though he is situated in the body, he does not think himself the doer and he is not contaminated by it. Okay. So, you have said that the Jiva in contact with his body takes repeated birth. Purusha prakritisto hi bhunkte prakritijan gunan. Karanam gunasangosya sadasad yoni janmasu. That is that verse 13.22. You have said that the Jiva in contact with his body takes repeated birth. The Jiva, by thinking himself the body, by being in the body, becomes contaminated by the gunas and takes repeated birth. But the Paramatma does not become contaminated. Why? He is called Anadi because he has no original cause. But just as Anuttama can mean Parama Uttama, taking the ablative sense of the word, no one is higher than him. So Anadi means having no cause. Can mean the supreme cause. So Anadi means having no cause. It means to be the supreme cause in this context. Just like Anuttama means, uh, uh, Parama Uttama. Similarly, Anadi can mean Adi of everyone. Therefore, because he is the final cause, and because the gunas such as creation and destruction arise out of him, this Paramatma is distinguished from the Jiva. Maya is not an energy of the Jiva. Therefore, the Jiva can be contaminated due to the influence of avidya. Okay, the Jiva constitutionally cannot get contaminated, but the Jiva, because of identifying with the body, he can get, it's as good as getting contaminated. But because Maya, because Paramatma is the source of Maya, therefore Paramatma cannot be contaminated by Maya. That's what it means. So, at all times, in all circumstances, he is without decrease in his own knowledge, bliss, and other qualities. At all times. Even though situated in the body, because he does not take up the qualities of the body, he does not think he is a doer like the Jiva. He does not become an enjoyer, nor does he get contaminated by the gunas of the material body. Rather, he is Upadrashta Anumanta. He just acts, he just remains as a neutral witness. Okay. And he allows the Jiva to enjoy or suffer the results according to his karma. So even though he is Sharirastopi Kaunteya na karoti na lipyate, even though he is situated in the body, he does not think that he is the doer and he is not contaminated, and because he does not identify with the body as the self. Like that. Okay. Any quick discussion points, comments, questions, anything anyone would like to share, ask, add? Okay. Let us continue then. We have 3 more verses remaining in this chapter. So which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 slides, just 8 more slides left. Wow. Looks like today we might have an early ending to our class today. Let's see. Yata sarvagatam saukshmyat akasham nopalipyate sarvatravastito dehe tatatmanopalipyate. Yata akasham. Akasham, even though means sky, but here it means ether. Just as ether, sarvagatam, which is spread everywhere, na upalipyate. Even though it is spread everywhere and touches everything, but it is not contaminated by it. Why? Saukshmyad. Again, this suffix ad means because of. Because of saukshmyad means because of being sukshma, because of being subtle. Saukshmyad. Because of being subtle, because of being subtle, yata sarvagatam, yata akasham sarvagatam. Just as the ether which spreads everywhere, na upalipyate is not contaminated, saukshmyad, because of its subtle nature. Okay. That which is subtle cannot be contaminated by that which is more grosser than it. So ether being the subtlemost of all material elements cannot be contaminated by it cannot be contaminated by earth, water, fire, and air. So therefore, even though it is spreading everywhere, na upalipyate, it is not contaminated, saukshmyat, because of its subtle nature. Tata, in the very same way, Atma here refers to Paramatma. Sarvatra avastito dehe, even though it is situated everywhere in the body, na upalipyate, it is not contaminated. Why? Saukshmyat. Because of its sukshmatva, because of its subtle nature. Now, someone may say, oh, but the jiva is also sukshma. Is the jiva not more subtler than earth, water, fire, air, ether? Then how is the jiva contaminated? In reality, the jiva is also not contaminated. But because the jiva is identifying with subtle body and the subtle body is contaminated, jiva by identification with that subtle body gets contaminated. Okay. So if just like, you know, uh, a, a, a person is not magnetic. Okay. He is not magnetic. Okay. But so if the most powerful magnet comes in front of him, he will not stick to that magnet, you know, whatever may be the power of that magnet. But let's say the person is wearing an iron vest. Okay. If he is wearing an iron bulletproof vest, I don't know. What are bulletproof vests made of? Are they made of iron? I don't know, whatever. So, yeah, I don't know whether it's made of iron or what. Let's say it's made of some magnetic material. Okay, let's say. Yeah, I think Akshay Prabhu is in armed forces, I think. What is bulletproof vest made of, Prabhu? Is it made of iron or what is it made of? Okay, whatever it may be, but it is bulletproof, that much we know. So let's say that he is wearing a vest which is made of a magnetic material. Okay. So then if he comes in front of a powerful magnet, even though the person, it is made of Kevlar composite. Kevlar composite. Okay, thank you. So if he comes in front of that magnet, he will get attracted by that magnet. Why? Because he is wearing that iron vest, which is actually magnetic. So similarly, the jiva constitutionally does not get affected by matter because of its sukshmatva, subtleness. But when the jiva identifies with the subtle body, which can be affected by matter, which can be affected by the three modes, then just like the person wearing that iron vest gets attracted by the magnet, similarly, the jiva also identifying with the subtle body gets affected by the three modes. Like that. In this verse, the Lord gives an example. Just as the ether situated in mud and other places is not contaminated because it is most subtle, not contacting the mud at all, the Paramatma is not connected with the gunas or faults of the material body and therefore he is not contaminated. Sarvata Vartamanopi. What is it? No, not this verse, right? Sarvatra vastito dehe tatatma no na upalipyate. Like that. Any discussion points, comments, questions? Okay. Till no questions. We have just two more verses left. 34th verse. Yata prakashayatyekah kritsnam lokam imam ravihi kshetram kshetri tata kritsnam prakashayati bharata. Yata ekah ravihi, just as one sun, prakashayati, lights up, imam kritsnam lokam, this entire world. Tata, in the same way, kshetri, the Paramatma, prakashayati kritsnam kshetram, he illuminates the whole body, O Bharata. same, this is also something that we know already. Just as one sun illuminates the whole world while being situated in one place, in the same way, Paramatma also situated in one part of the body, it illuminates the whole body, which means it illuminates here means not, uh, you know, by its luminous intensity, uh, but it illuminates means it empowers the senses of, it empowers all the senses and all parts of the body. So here he says, using an example, the Lord shows how the Paramatma, being the source of illumination, is not connected with the qualities of what he illuminates. Just as the sun, the illuminator, is not connected to the qualities of what he illuminates, the Paramatma illumines everything and he is not affected. Like Prabhupada gives the example of how the sun evaporates urine and stool, but still the sun itself is not contaminated by it. Okay. So in the same way, Paramatma also, even though he is connected to the bodies of various living entities, the subtle and the gross matter in the body of all the living entities, but he is not affected by it. That is what it means. The Shruti says, Suryo yata sarva lokasya chakshuhu न लिप्यते चाक्षुषैर बाह्य दोषैः एकस्तथा सर्वभूतान्तरात्मा न लिप्यते शोक दुःखेन बाह्यः. The Katha Upanishad says, just as the sun is the eye of all people, but is not contaminated by the material faults of the eyes, so the Paramatma within all beings is not contaminated by lamentation and suffering of the material world. So the sun means, you can say here the sun means Surya Dev, who is the sense devata of vision. And he also actually empowers the Stulendriya and the Sukshmendriya, the gross sense and the subtle sense, to function properly, to accomplish the purpose of having vision. Okay. So, but the sun devata itself does not get really excited by seeing whatever the eyes sees. He is the one who is empowering the vision of all the living entities. So empowered by him, all the living entities see so many things and they get attracted and completely captivated and bound to this material world. But the sun devata himself does not get captivated by any of that. So in the same way, the Paramatma, even though he is empowering the bodies of all the living entities, he is not contaminated by lamentation and suffering of this material world, even though they are connected to the body, like that. Any quick discussion points, comments, questions? Yes, Shamlal Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
So, I mean, just we are seeing all the qualities of the Paramatma here.
Mhm.
Now, essentially, he's not affected as a super soul. He's not doing anything. He's not
Mhm.
affected. He's just with the soul all the time.
Mhm.
One may question
Mhm.
what exactly is the need for the Supreme Lord to be there, because uh, ultimately it, it is the soul who has to endeavor and experience and ultimately come out of this material world.
Mhm.
So uh, technically, what is the need for the Paramatma to be there with every soul through and through every journey?
Okay. Um, Upadrashta Anumanta. Upadrashta means how is every jiva getting something exactly according to his karma? You may say, oh, by law of karma. But who is, yeah, law of karma is something inanimate. Karma is inanimate. So someone has to enforce that law. So if a law is acting, there must be a law enforcer. Who is enforcing that law? That is Paramatma. And so in order to enforce a particular law, there must be a person who is observing. Who is observing that? That is Paramatma, Upadrashta, Anumanta. And then enforcement of law of karma is not easy, because law of karma is enforced through the gross body and the subtle body by specifically empowering the gross body and subtle body in a particular way, so that a person at a particular time can enjoy a particular thing or would suffer a particular circumstances appropriately according to his karma. Who is enforcing all of that? That is Paramatma. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Giving remembrance at the right time, forgetfulness at the right time, knowledge at the right time. Who is doing all that? That is Paramatma. So therefore, he is the non-doer means what? Non-doer means he is not identifying with the body. So the jiva is also the non-doer. But when he is identifying with the body, he thinks he is doing, even though whatever is being done is done by the body only. But the Paramatma is always the non-doer, because he never identifies with the body in which he is inhabiting. That is the meaning of being the non-doer. Otherwise, without identifying with the body, he does Upadrashta, Anumanta, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara. He is protecting them. He is maintaining everything, not just the conscious living entities, but the unconscious Jada Vastus also are exhibiting their dharma. Sugar is sweet, salt is salty. Why? It is because the Paramatma is present and empowering that particular substance to exhibit its dharma. That is Paramatma. So therefore, yes, and Paramatma is doing all of this without identifying with matter. That is the meaning of being non-doer. Like that. Does it make sense, bro?
Okay. Yeah. My primary the thought process was like to witness whatever the soul is doing, and there are other witnesses also, na? Like it is said that the sun is witnessing, the four directions are witnessing.
Correct.
So there are other witnesses also.
Correct.
So just as there are other witnesses, I
Hmm.
mean, the Supreme Lord through his energies could sanction the whole thing without being present there also as a
Yes.
sanctioning officer. But
Okay.
still,
Now, how are this sun and moon? How are they able to witness? By whose power? They also have Paramatma staying in their heart to do that job.
okay,
So
okay,
even they cannot function without the empowerment of the Paramatma. Well, is it impossible for the Supreme Lord to create a system where he is personally not there? Uh, yeah, it is not impossible. If Krishna wants, he can do that. But still, Krishna chooses to be personally there, even though he is personally there, but his energies are only involved in doing that. But his personal presence there is just to indicate that, this world is not abandoned, you know, in a sense that, I am interested in the jiva. I have not abandoned the jiva, even though the jivas have turned their face away from me. Okay, like that. Of course, anything is possible for Krishna without without any need for his being personally present. He can, he can, he can accomplish things, but still, whatever witness you're talking about, the sun and the moon and the four directions, their functioning also requires the Paramatma's empowerment. So, like that. They can witness, but they cannot provide everything. You may say that the sun is empowering vision, but that sun, in order to provide that vision, needs the empowerment of Paramatma, like that.
Okay. So, in one sense, it is also a manifestation of the Karuna Shakti of the Lord, that he is there
Yeah, you
doing.
can say. Yeah.
Okay.
So Karuna, but in a neutral sense, which means he does not have any specific affection towards anyone. It's a generic affection, you can say. Hmm? Because he says, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshyosti na priyah. So I am equal to all. I don't hate anyone. I don't love anyone. I don't love anyone means I love everyone equally. That's what it means. I care
Right.
for everyone, like that.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Keshav Premati.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, then for devotee, what is the role of Paramatma, Prabhuji? Because Paramatma is expansion, Purusha Avatar, Shirya Vishnu residing in our heart, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So for devotee, we say Krishna directly takes care of devotees. So how it is happening for devotees, Prabhuji? All this Upadrishthanamanta, all these things.
If an expansion of an expansion of an expansion of Krishna is doing it, why can't Krishna do it? He has his own system.
Yes, Prabhuji, Krishna is doing. I just want to understand, like, what. So, Paramatma role is over for devotees, Prabhuji.
Yeah, there is no. If someone is not, he has not committed a crime, then there is no role of the magistrate or the judge to pass judgment about that person's case. So he can come back home and he can be with his family, with his father and his mother and his sister and everyone. So like that. So Paramatma is playing the role of the judge. But when one says, okay, I don't want to get into this business of enjoying and suffering in this material world. I want to establish a relationship with you, Krishna. Then he says, okay, so you don't have to spend any more time with the magistrate and the judiciary system. You can come back home to the family. So Krishna takes over as a father, as a mother, like that.
Okay, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, here we see Paramatma neutral. He will not participate in any of the emotions, material emotions, Prabhuji. But some pastimes that is happening in our earth, that in that cases, like many places, looks like Lord is empathizing with the emotions of people around. So just for
I don't
pastime sake,
like which one you're talking about. I don't know.
Prabhuji, many in Tamil in Sri Parampara, some stories and all. So many stories we are hearing, Prabhuji. The Lord Himself coming and interacting with people, like that. Many stories we are hearing, Prabhuji. In Sri Param, I mean, so many stories where the Lord interacts, comes here and
Yeah, those must be
interacts
the
with.
Bhagavan feature, not the Paramatma feature.
Oh, Okay, okay, okay. So Kshirodasha Vishnu, that feature is just neutral always.
Yeah.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Last verse of this chapter. We have another 3 more slides left, and then the chapter is over. Okay. क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोरेवम् अन्तरं ज्ञानचक्षुषा भूतप्रकृतिमोक्षं च ये विदुर्यान्ति ते परम्. Ye evam viduhu. Those who know, those who thus know, antaram. Antaram means the difference. Kshetra kshetragyayoho. Between the two knowers of the field as well as their difference from the field. When they know the difference between the two kshetragyas, how the jiva is different from Paramatma, and how the jivatma and Paramatma are different from the kshetra, the body, one who knows this, bhuta prakriti moksham cha. And those who also know the process of liberation from prakriti for the living entities, yanti te param, they attain the supreme goal. So those who know the difference between jiva and Paramatma, those who know the difference between the two conscious entities, the jivatma and Paramatma, with the prakriti, okay, and those who know the path of liberation, the process of liberation of the prakriti from the living entities, either through the gradual path of nishkama karma yogas, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, etc., or through the direct process of bhakti. Those who know either one of those two paths properly, yanti te param, they attain the supreme goal. They attain the supreme goal, which means they attain either the impersonal liberation if they are following the gradual path, or they attain prema if they are practicing bhakti. So here, the Lord summarizes the contents of the chapter. Those who know the difference between the two knowers of the field, the jiva and Paramatma, along with the field, and also the method of liberation from prakriti for the living entities, such as meditation, achieve the supreme goal. Among the knowers of the field, the jiva, enjoying the qualities of the field, is bound up, but is also liberated by knowledge. And this is the meaning of the chapter. So, the jiva enjoying the qualities of the field is bound up, but when he attains knowledge, he also becomes liberated. That is the meaning of this chapter. Thus end the commentaries on the 13th chapter of the Gita for the pleasure of the devotees' minds by the mercy of the Acharyas. Okay. So, there are some questions in the chat box. I have read that all the incarnations here are from Kshirodakasai Vishnu. Not from Kshirodakasai Vishnu. He is the agent through which they manifest. Those forms are all eternal forms in the spiritual world, but in this material world, they manifest through the agency of Purusha avatars. So that is why they are called as Avataravali Bijam. They are the seed of many avatars, in the sense they act as the agent through which these various avatars manifest in this material world. Okay. When the jivas leave the body, Paramatma also leaves. Is it still with the soul till it gets another body? Yeah. Yes, it is still with the soul till it gets another body. True. Because the subtle body is still there with the soul. So the jiva is there. The Paramatma is also there with the jiva till it gets another gross body. Yes. Keshav Mataji.
Prabhuji, what does the agent means? I couldn't get that, Prabhuji. Agent means?
Agent means just like Narsimhadev came out of the pillar. So the pillar is the agent of manifestation of Narsimhadev. In the same way, but Narsimhadev's form is eternal. So in this
Yes,
in this
Prabhuji.
material world, through the pillar he appeared. So similarly, even though the forms of all these avatars are eternal, in the material world they come through the agency of the Purusha avatars, like that.
Ram comes means it comes to agent of Shirodosha means I couldn't
Not all.
sorry, I couldn't get it.
Not even all the not all the avatars also. Lord Ram appeared through the agency of Dasharath Maharaj and Kaushalya. Krishna came, appeared through the agency of, like that.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So, if there are no further discussion points, comments, or questions, I think we will pause here. So, we have till now completed 13 out of 18 chapters, which is technically, if you see the number of chapters, it is about 72% of Bhagavad Gita we have completed, 13 out of 18 chapters. But if you see, the earlier chapters have more verses. The 14th chapter has, I guess, 27 verses. 15th has only 20 verses. 16th has, I guess, about 24 verses. 17th has 28 verses. So 14, 15, 16, 17. So on an average, about 25 verses, which means 100 plus another 78 verses in the 18th chapter. You're talking about 180 out of 700 verses, which is about yeah. So roughly, you can say about 75% of the book is over. We have about 25% in terms of number of verses left. So I guess we should be taking about maybe 14th chapter should take maybe around 3 to 4 sessions. 15th chapter may again take about 3 to 4 sessions. The 16th chapter may take again about 3 to 4 sessions. 17th chapter again maybe 2 to 3 sessions. So we are roughly talking about 12 to 15 sessions for the next 4 chapters. And the 18th chapter, even though there are many verses, but it is more or less like a summary of what we have already seen throughout Bhagavad Gita. So 78 verses may not take really a very long time. So I am presuming that may take another 6 to 7, maximum 8 sessions, maybe. So 8 plus about 12 to 15 sessions, maybe 20, 23 sessions. So which means we are still looking at about 5 to 6 months time before Bhagavad Gita ends. Yeah, just giving you a perspective, another 5 to 6 months, because it's just once a week course. So we still have time to complete. But anyways, we will continue this discussion. We will start the 14th chapter, hopefully next Friday. So thank you all very much for your patient listening and your enthusiastic participation. Have a very pleasant weekend, and we will meet again on Monday for our morning Bhagavatam, and then the afternoon sessions and evening Jayavadharma. Everything will resume from Monday onwards, but Saturday, Sunday, please have a pleasant weekend. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.